So welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today we have Nuna, and we're very thankful to have all of you with us today. And again, today's webinar is brought to you by State Farm and Safe Kids. So as you can see, if you are watching with a group, that's fine. Usually only the person that's registered for the webinar and is logged in will get credit for watching. But if you are watching with a group, that's great. All you need to do is quickly organize an in-person session, just designate a lead, get a sign-in sheet, and then you're going to add that CEU as an in-person session instead of as a webinar. And also you will be getting after 2 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time, an email that will come from Zoom that will have your event ID number on it. And it will also, again, have the handout link that you received in the chat will also be on that Zoom email. If you don't get that, just let me know and I will send you a confirmation. And also please ask your questions in the Q&A rather than in the chat box so that we don't miss any of your important questions. So our objectives for today are identifying Nuna's latest entries into the CPS retail space in the USA, identify the difference in our current products and the design methods used to design and create these seats, identify new features and how these car seats work and how they install in caregivers' vehicles, and also explain how the products fit in the line of Nuna-brand car seats. So we are very fortunate to have on the call with us today Bob Wall. Many of you are familiar with Bob, and he is a longtime public safety professional with over 20 years in law enforcement and another 10 years in fire and rescue. A traffic safety specialist for more than 34 years, Bob coordinated many local, state, and national programs targeting the safety of all with a goal of 0 injuries and fatalities because of the non-use and the misuse of seatbelts and car seats. Bob joined the Nuna Baby team in 2012, and he serves as a resource and educator on car seat safety for the Nuna team and others across the country. And we are very fortunate and honored to have you with us today, Bob. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hey, how are you all today? I hope everybody's doing good. I saw lots of familiar faces and locations on the chats on Wisconsin. I saw somebody from Wisconsin. I saw lots of people in Virginia and other places. So welcome. First I'm going to start out with some of the Nuna brand news. And what I want to talk about from a brand, we are growing. Our distribution center is currently at 100% capacity in Vancouver. It's our new center. We've had it for just about a year now. That center, like I said, is 100% operational with over 17,000 pieces of Nuna product that are in that warehouse, and they get turned, that number gets turned around about 3 or 4 times a year. So that's how much product that is coming in the back door and then going out the front. So that is up and running. We also have recently finished ensuring that all of our customer service and a majority of our marketing team are CPS certified technicians, which is really good for both the customer and you guys as far as technicians. Our customer concierge service actually talks to a lot of customers every day. We do face-to-face on virtual with our customers. In many cases, we do still have our virtual child seat events the first Thursday of every month that we offer to our customers and others. Yes, we are offering it to our customers, but we have, over the last year, we have checked many Nuna car seats, but we also check if they have another car seat or a different brand. We also check for those too. So we currently still take appointments on our website for that virtual check. We have appointments all the way through May at this point. And each Thursday, first Thursday of every month, we have almost 65 appointments each of those days. So it is very popular event, and we have a lot of people signing up for that. What's really exciting about what's happening at Nuna is we now have a new research and development center, which is our crash test lab. Our headquarters in the US is in Morgantown, Pennsylvania, and not far from our headquarters the owner of the company decided we're going to have a US testing facility. So they built over the last year, we have built a new facility with a new testing sled. That new sled is a Seattle Safety 2.0 mech servo, which is one of the largest in the country. It has been calibrated, and we are currently running tests on it. Again, we are still running the calibration and things. So we have the abilities now right here in Pennsylvania to do our own crash testing, our own development, our own research on different things. This is a very large sled and a very large facility. So we'll probably be doing a lot of different things, not just Nuna, because obviously Nuna is part of a whole brand, and Iron Mountains is our design team, and they design for other major child seat brands and other type of programs. So we do, with that sled test, we do have our own lab for our dummies. We have our own ATDs. Our whole set right there is what you see. We have 2 full sets of these, and we also have a lab in this building that calibrates these, and also all the material that we need to make sure that we're up to date on our crash test sled, as well as all these dummies are calibrated and kept in good order. And with all this new buildings and products, that we have new employees. So yes, we're growing. Like I said, we still offer our virtual child seat safety checks the first Thursday of every month. We will be offering more appointments during those days, because now we have more people trained. I believe we're up to 30 people between customer and marketing that are trained as certified technicians. Also, we still have the chat feature on our website. If you are out on the field and you run into an issue or you have a question, if you go to our website and you can't find the information you need, there is a chat feature on the bottom right of that page that will take you directly to one of our CPSTs. If they cannot help you with our product, they will then take you to the next level, which would be myself or somebody else that can help you with the issue. Or they'll get a hold of me and ask me to call you or whatever. So again, that is also available to everybody in the field. So now that we talked about our expanding brand, let's talk about our expanding brand. Let's talk about 2023. What's happening in 2023? Well, if you look at our lineup here, our 2023 lineup, we have Rava, the Rev, the Exec, the Ace, and we have our Pippa series. You'll notice the Pippa has been pared down a little bit, and we'll talk about that, but we have Pippa RX, Pippa Light RX, and we now have the Pippa Urban. So we're going to talk about a lot of these today. But this is our current brand offering. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Let's try that again. There we go. We definitely, our newest infancy, or one of our newest infancies, we just brought out 2 new ones. One of them last year, one of them this year. Our Pippa Light RX is out there, and it is a fully featured child seat that weighs less than 7 pounds. Now, if you look here at the bottom of this, it says the Pippa Light series, in other words, the Light R, and the Light LX, are after April will probably be out, because we are not making any more of those light versions, and we're going to be retooling, and it may be coming out later. But right now, the only light offerings we have would be the Pippa Light RX after these are sold out. Now, remember, the light versions cannot be used without the base. So again, the Light LX or the Light RX, excuse me, the Light RX can be used without the base because it does have belt pads. So if you look at the current Light, the Light RX or LX, good grief, RX, I'll be all right. Remember, every time there's an R in the name of any of our Pippa seats, it comes with the relaxed base. If it just says Pippa, it comes with our standard or original base. The only real difference in the original base and this base is this base has a few more features on it that allow it to be a little bit more adjustable. It has the same rigid lower anchors that you see here, but those anchors on the relaxed base put ratchet inward toward the back seat. So it has that 4-position steel rigid anchor that once it's in can be moved back to the seat to put it up against the back of the vehicle seat a little bit tighter. It also has a redesigned lock off, which that lock off offers protection from a rebound because it's kind of a rebound type situation. It has a rebound panel that's part of that lock off. It also, this new base or this relaxed base is adjustable on the fly. All right, so on the go, you don't have to take the base out to put the foot out and adjust the angles. These angles have been tested and are dialed into the average with a 15-degree plus or minus degree recline in 4 positions. So basically 1 and 2 are 4 to 20 pounds, 3 and 4 are 21 pounds to 32 pounds. There is no need for a bubble or an angle. These are dialed in with the seat. It also does have a different load leg or stability leg. Our stability leg used to be a 2-piece leg that when you put it down, it would just slide down to the floor, and it only locked on the upward position. This stability leg is three positions. It also locks on the way down and on the way up. And what that does is, number one, it stops you guys from and everybody else from going, oh my God, I hate that leg because every time I move it, it falls down. And that's a real issue. People grab the front of it and pull the seat up, and the leg goes to the floor, and then people have to readjust it. This one, there is no need for that readjustment. This leg is about 2 inches shorter on the short end, and which it's 2 inches longer on the long end. So most of the vehicles that allow a load leg or stability leg in the center rear, even if there's a hump there, because this is shorter, it will fit in more of those vehicles much easier if it has a very large hump in the back floor of the second row. So again, this base, when it comes right down to it, it is just a little bit more adjustable, user-friendly. When you look at the carrier or the bucket part, the big difference between this and the lights that are being taken off is this one still has the Aeroflex foam, which makes it light, and it's bonded to the plastic. This one, however, does have belt paths both on the side and in the back for the European belt routing, and it allows you to use it with and without the base. It also has it's the only Pippa that has a no rethread 5-point harness. So again, we don't have to redo the harnessing and all that stuff. Everything else is pretty much the same. This one does have magnetic buckle holders built into the side. So again, to get that buckle out of the way. If you look at this, what people have asked, okay, sometimes I have a problem putting this in. I'm going to play this twice. If you look at this, and we're going to do it one more time here, when he puts this in, you'll notice, yeah, obviously leg first, but here's the part that's important. You grab the lower anchors, put them in, then push the seat back. What's happening is people are getting a little frustrated because they're trying to install the lower anchors by grabbing the top of the base and pushing in. You need to take the lower anchors, install them when they get green, then push the seat back toward the vehicle seat. And what happens is if you push on the base too soon, that retracts those and you may not be able to reach that lower anchor. So again, that's something that's a little trick of the trade. Make sure you put the lower anchors in first, then push it back. Again, I already talked to, it does have the lower belt or the belt guides for European belt routing. And it does have the no rethread harness. This is the only PIPA or the only infant seat that we offer that has no rethread harness. The big obstacle to these no rethread harnesses is weight. The weight the goal was to keep it under 7 pounds. It is under 7 pounds. It is 6.9 pounds, even with that no rethread harness. Like some no rethread harnesses, people worry about this pushing the child's head a little forward. This seat is a completely different redesigned bucket. So we have accounted for that no rethread, and it does fit a smaller child pretty well with this bucket. What that means also is some of the padding you have with your old PIPAs will not fit into this new PIPA Light RX because it is a different type of shell. All right, we've had a very popular response to our new travel bag. The travel bag, like we still promote, we want people to use the seats on airplanes, but I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, and as most people know who've been traveling, the airports are packed, the airlines are packed, and it's difficult sometimes to actually get a seat for the child, both financially and just availability. So a lot of people are still just checking that seat. So we've offered this travel bag with the PIPA. It is only designed for the PIPA. And it is designed for the PIPA and the base. You can put either the base in it and use the seat in the airplane, or you put them both in there and check them in. The bag is also designed so it holds the seat in securely, so it is protected a little bit better. With this bag, if you register with Nuna, you get what we call our boarding pass, which is an extended 1-year manufacturer warranty on your seat and the bag. So again, we will give you an extended warranty, especially when traveling. So if there's an issue with your seat, it will be covered under that warranty if it's in this bag. The bag is very durable. I've been carrying around my PIPA Urban all over the country with it, and you can't even tell that it's been checked. It is very durable. The handles are great. The backpack part, which I thought I would hate, I love, because I have free hands and it works very, very, very well. It was very easy to carry through several airports last week. Again, it does say it only goes in one direction. I keep having people trying to put it in the wrong direction. We do have specific instructions. No, it doesn't say don't put child here. We think that we don't necessarily need that part, but somebody at the last class asked, where do you put the kid? So I said, well, maybe we ought to put that, no children. But this goes in a certain way, the feet down at the bottom, and where it opens up, that's where the head would be. Again, it is a very tight fit. It does have straps to hold it in, and it is a very secure bag. Now, our next introduction into the world of child seats came earlier this past year, and that's our Rev. The Rev is our rotating car seat, and it rotates 360. It goes from 4 pounds up to 40 pounds. And that's rear facing and forward facing. It's got 10 position head support. It does have the energy absorbing foam with no rethread harnesses. It has 10 recline positions, 5 front, 5 back. The thing about this seat now, and what's new about this seat, is the new models have been on a diet, so they are lighter. We'll talk about that. The seats have lost about 3 pounds. But one of the great things about this seat is the tension door. The reason the tension door is so important to this is it goes into a lot more vehicles. There's not worry about taking the seat off the base and try to install it. This is a one-time install, rear facing and forward facing, and we see the tension door there. It is not a lock off. Once it is shut, you then need to lock off the belt. Now, the true tension panels are tested in Europe using the R44 lock-off test, but there is no such test here in the US. And because of the variations of the size of belts, the thickness, the slickness, we have gone with err on side of safety. It may be a lock-off, but look, we're saying it's not a lock-off. Just pull the retractor, switch the retractor out, and if you don't have a switchboard, use a locking latch plate or locking clip. It's not that complicated. So again, we believe that using the tension door and locking off the belt is the best way to do it. You'll notice the one on the left, that's our exec. That one has 2 tension doors, both rear facing blue, forward facing red. But this one, the Rev, only has just 1 door. Now, some people like to even use lower anchors with this, but again, at a certain weight, you have to switch back to seatbelt. So a lot of people ask how to put it in. This is Sarah, our brand manager for Nuna, and she's putting it in. You basically put the lap belt in. Now, she has not switched to retractor yet, which is fine. But now she's going to switch it before she actually shuts the door, which is fine, which is what we would like you to do with this seat. So what she's going to do is make sure that that belt is flat in the belt path, put a little bit of pressure with her right hand, and then pull upward to get that lap belt tighter. Okay. And she tucks it in behind that panel, which is part of the base, making sure it's all flat and flush, feeding it in, and then closing that door, and then testing it, and then giving me the stink eye. So she's saying, get that camera out of my face. So what we're telling you is, like, when you do the tension door for our convertibles, if you lock it first and then put the tension door down, it tends to sometimes in the rear facing mode, or even in the forward facing mode, the shoulder belt tends to make the seat tilt a little bit. With those seats, it's much easier to get the slack out, close the door, which will be difficult to close. It should be if it's tight enough, then lock the belt. We have found with the Rev, it's, excuse me, it's easier to install if you lock the retractor first. Then pull out the slack, feeding the retractor back in, and then closing the door. So again, that's the difference between those installs. You'll notice that the tether anchor is always used in this seat, rear facing and forward facing. Okay, so the tether anchor comes out of the box over top of that handle. That's where the tether anchor has to be, over top of that handle. It needs to be installed first. It doesn't necessarily need to be tightened first. It would be easier probably for you to get the install if you tighten it first, but just install the tether first, then get the belt in, lock it off, then close the tension door. You would then make the belt go behind that panel. The only reason we have that going behind the panel is to keep that belt away from the child. In other words, if the child is messing with their feet or whatever they're doing, we don't want them to entangle into that shoulder belt. So we just get it out of the way by putting it underneath that panel. Yes, it will be over the tether at one point, but it is correct. You'll notice that this person has their hand right there at the foot. That's where the release is. To turn this seat, it spins either direction, 360 with the cup holders on it. There's no cup holders in this picture, but it does spin with the cup holders on, and it has no restriction. You can use any of the recline angles, rear facing, and spin it. When it turns around, you can use any of the recline angles, forward facing, and spin it. What's unique about this seat is you cannot get it in the wrong angle. The reason I say that is once it's in the blue or the rear facing, it will not go into the red angle. So it won't go forward facing angles. If I turn it forward facing, it will not recline into the blue or the rear facing reclines. So it's locked out. So you can only do it 5 forward, 5 rear. Again, we have that integrated rebound control. And as far as dimensions are concerned, this seat is only 2 inches deeper than the Rava, and that 2 inches is all base, that part of that base. So again, it's a very good as far as compact seat, and it is lighter now. We have taken out some weight, and because we have taken out some weight, we have also increased usage to 35 pounds with lower anchors, and 40 pounds with forward facing. So again, the forward facing minimum weight is now 30 pounds. So we want them, we're trying to get them to keep them rear facing longer. We don't want them to turn them at 25. So we have taken some weight off the seat. We've added some weight to the lower anchors if you want to do that. And we've also made up our 5 pounds so people will keep them rear facing a little bit longer. So you see above the original usage and weights and below the new usage and weights. So again, we go 5 to 35 pounds with lower anchors. Forward facing, you can go 30 pounds all the way to 40 pounds with both the lower anchor and the seat belt. Many people like the lower anchor install with this seat as well. You don't need to worry about the tension door as much or locking the belt or anything. It is much a little cleaner feeling and looking. You don't have to worry about that shoulder belt. Again, some of the install notes for this is all the harness covers must be used in all modes, rear facing and forward facing, and the tether is to be used all the time. Okay. If you're going to use something that has a lap belt only, you can only use position 5 in rear facing or forward facing. That's going to be more rare than you could ever imagine. Right now, most of these seats are going into vehicles that don't just have a lap belt. These are very older vehicles, and even the new 213 rule excludes lap belt testing. So I think that's why we have that in there. All right, so the question is, now what? Well, we decided we're going to put together a travel system. This one is a game changer. Okay, our new Pippa Urban is basically, a game changer. If you take rigid lower anchors and put them on the shell of the carrier, you would expect to add lots of weight. And this seat is 7 pounds. It has rigid lower anchors connected to the shell of this carrier. And it also has a foot underneath that when the lower anchors are rotated down, the foot comes out to take up the void in the seat below. So again, this is a brand new seat. This is a Pippa, but it again is a different shell. It goes from 4 to 22 pounds rear facing. Now, the seat does have different features, the soft goods, the large peekaboo window. The big thing about this is the ease of install. Rotate the bars down, point them toward your lower anchors and push. It's done. To get the seat out is just as easy. Just squeeze the handle on the back and it releases the lower anchors, and you pull it out and you put it onto your stroller. Again, this seat.
Hi, I'm Bob Wall,
How it
Nuna's
works.
global car seat advocate. Pippa Urban is the only baseless infant car seat with the integrated Pippa Fix steel reinforced rigid latch that can install in 2 seconds while weighing in at an ultralight 7 pounds. The Pippa Urban is engineered with several outstanding safety features. The steel reinforced Pippa Fix rigid latch provides a strong connection for swift and straightforward installations in under 2 seconds. AeroFlex foam is lightweight, resilient, and minimizes the force transferred to the baby by absorbing and diffusing energy to provide all-around protection to keep baby safe. You have a steel reinforced Pippa Fix rigid latch connected to a steel lower anchor in the bite of the seat. So this connection is very strong. The Pippa Urban is also Green Guard Gold certified. Like all Nuna car seats, the Pippa Urban is FR free, smartly sourced to be both flame resistant and contain no added fire retardant chemicals.
So this seat is sold only as a travel system. This seat does not come with a base. It will not fit into any of the Pippa bases. It is a completely different seat. So this is designed for people who have the stroller on the go in the city, cabs, buses, whatever, or just people in the suburbs who just don't want to deal with a base. Okay. All they have to do is point and shoot, basically. It comes with 3 different systems. Our Mix Next travel system, Travel Next, and our Travel and our Triv systems come, and those are the 3 systems that it comes with. I know the first question is this sold alone? No, this is currently not sold just as a child seat. This is a travel system. Remember, it is a baseless install. There is no base that is compatible with. When you put it in, it goes in just when you look. Push it in. When both of those are green, it's over. I spent 7 days at the DC Auto Show and did over 300 vehicle installs with all of our seats. This one, the average was about 2 seconds, and getting it out was just as easy. You just grab the handle on the back, squeeze it, and it comes right out. So again, the difference in the install, ease of install, is just superior. It does have, like I said, the one-handed release, but you'll notice it does have the belt paths on it as well. If you want to put it in the center and there is no lower anchors, yes, this is compatible with seat belts as well. And when this comes out, when you take these lower anchors and rotate them down, it does have an automatic piece that comes down that fills up that void. Okay, so again, This helps with the installation. The European belt routing is available in this seat. It also has 2 layers of foam. In other words, it has 2 different head padding for smaller child and then the larger child. The padding that you see closest to us slides off as the child gets larger, and now he has more room. So, and then you can take the whole thing out, all right, when you need to at 11 pounds. So this has the foam in this, or the padding in this, again, completely different monster than any of our other Pippas. It does have our side impact protection that has been tested using the side impact tests that we currently use. We believe that in 2 years, when the side impact standard has to be in place, this one will be ready to go already. We do have our signature sky drape, paparazzi drape, whatever you want to call it. We do have the natural fibers, the fabrics that we use to make sure that there's no chemicals added to meet the flame retardant standards. It does have the magnetic buckle holders as well. And it is FAA certified, remember, with the lap belt. There are no lower anchors in airplanes. As of yet, I don't think there will be, but all right. So again, these are the 3 travel systems that it comes with. All right. And there's our 3 price points. Yes, it in the one caviar, ocean caviar, hazelwood. It will come in other colors later, but this is just hitting the streets within the last couple months. What also has been redesigned is our lower anchors, the guides. Every one of our Pippa seats come with the plastic cups that you put onto the lower guides in case you need a little bit of help finding those lower anchors. We have redesigned these guides to, first of all, be easier to reach the ones that are lower into the seat. And also, we made them a different color. Most vehicle seats are obviously dark in color, and at night, it's hard to see those openings, especially if we put those black plastic pieces around them. These now have the yellow pieces on them that actually push on and push off. You realize that the old black pieces and the ones that are out there now have a hook on the end of them. And that's so you can hook them onto that lower anchor. Well, it's easy to get on at times, not as easy to get off. These, however, are universal, and they will go as deep as you need them to go. They are push on and pull off. You notice there is no hook on this. This comes with the Urban. It will soon probably be replacing all of our guides that are in all of our Pippas, or all of our vehicle, all of our seats that we offer those with. And I believe they will be selling these separately as well. Again, we do have the bag that fits. It does not fit the stroller. We do have a separate bag that fits the stroller, but this is the bag just for the seat. We do offer a tech discount. I would encourage you to copy this down. You can call this number, email, and have your CPST ID card on hand. They will give you a code and you can then use it. I'm going to say one thing, and that is, remember, these discounts, whether it's from Nuna or Graco or wherever it's from, are a privilege for you who have taken the time to be certified techs. If we abuse this privilege, we will lose this privilege. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can buy your friend, or you can buy, but don't buy the neighborhood a Pippa, all right? Don't have 70 children next year, because we do track these codes. So again, just don't abuse it. So again, no matter, and I want to leave some time for questions, but I also want to say, Nuna, Graco, Britex, whatever you're going to use, guys, we have to go back to step 1, and that is getting kids in seats. We still have 41% of the children who are out there and who are killed in crashes, like in 2019, 41% of them weren't in anything. You know, we got to start with good. Good is a car seat. Then we move up to better and best. But let's get the good part down. Unfortunately, sometimes we think we have to start at square one again, because we do. We have every 9 months, we have to re-educate. So my name and number are right here. One thing I do want to say about the urban that people have asked about, some of the lower anchors, when they are a little bit more forward where you can reach them further, the space between the foot of the seat and the back of the vehicle seat, there is a space there. That space is allowable. With that space, you would have some up and down motion with the seat. The up and down motion will be stopped by that lower bar. And while it looks a little alarming, it has been tested. That motion is acceptable. If we don't like that motion, you can put a towel between the back of the seat and the foot of that seat to have it push against the seat a little bit more, but it is not necessary. In a crash, that whole thing will equal out and even out. If you do decide to do the towel, or you can use a seatbelt with our lower anchors as well, make sure you're at the right angle. If you use a seatbelt and the lower anchors, you might have a tendency to have that seat too upright. Make sure that blue line on the side is level with the ground, not the vehicle, with the ground. And with that, I'm going to turn this back to Steph and see if we can, have any questions or.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have quite a few questions, Bob. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start at the top, and some of them I'm going to be combining, but that way it'll kind of go in order so you know exactly where the questions are coming from. But the first question, Pam asked, do you host any tours at the testing center?
Not quite yet, but I'm sure there will be in the future.
Okay.
It is still very new.
And before I go on to more questions, I don't think I've ever seen so many hearts and thumbs up come up on the screen. So that is kudos to you, Bob. What are the hours the chat room is available?
For the chat, remember, we have people on the East Coast and on the West Coast. So if our West Coast goes till 6 p.m. West Coast. So if you're even in the East Coast at night, if you're at 6 p.m., you're at 9 p.m. on the East Coast. All right. So there's still people answering if you're on the East Coast up till 9 p.m. West Coast probably till 6 p.m. But we also have other people who are probably on till like 10 or 11 because we have coverage. So they may not be able to get to you right away, but they will be able to answer you and then get back to whoever needs to get back to.
Perfect. Katrina's question, I'm just going to read for you. The Iron Mountain sled looks like it has a floor. Are you planning on testing the load legs to European standards with this setup? Will you be working with vehicle manufacturers to tell them the range of loads going into their floor from your support leg in hopes of them formally stating their approval? So the first question, are you planning on testing the load legs to European standards with this setup?
Well, it really, the test sled that you saw does not really have a floor. I mean, it does not simulate a vehicle floor. That is just the floor that the sled is on. So every test bench looks exactly the same, like that one. And if we're doing 213 testing, we're going to be doing it without a floor. Do we have the capabilities to do it with a floor? Yes, we have that capabilities, obviously, because we have a leg that we offer. And will we be doing testing using both standards, US and European? Yes, but our goal, our focus is US, because that's why we put this sled here to test to US standards. We have plenty of sleds in Europe that we can test with the European standards. We really wanted to have something here in the US to target the US standards. Now, can we, and we have to test with the floor. We will have to, just like we currently do at any other test lab, do some type of fabrication for a floor. So we have to use the standard bench that has no floor per se.
Okay. And then the second part of her question there, Bob, was, has there been talk of working with vehicle manufacturers to talk to them about the range of loads going into their floor?
A little, but not, I can't say there's been a lot. We have given our seats to some manufacturers that do vehicle testing to see what's happening, but that's all I know about that. That's all I can really talk about, but I'm sure that'll be coming, but right now, not.
Okay.
Not right now.
Marie asked, is the light being phased out because it can't be installed baseless?
No, I mean, that's a consideration because of NHTSA's new interpretation. But it, you know, we really think it is a viable seat with a base and without a base. We're just changing it somehow, some way. We're doing something other with it, to do something else with it, to just make it a little bit better. So that's probably part of the consideration, but not really.
Okay. Danielle asked if you could clarify, maybe it's going back to the slide, Bob, of the ATD family names. They saw a couple extras that they weren't expecting on that slide.
I would have to go back and if that's Danielle, I'll have to get back to you on email.
Okay.
Because I have to look and see, but that is a complete set, including the infant and the 3-year-old and others. Some of them are instrumented. The white ones are not instrumented, if that's what she's talking about.
Okay, perfect. And then Isabella is asking, are there any plans to increase the weight and height limits on the REV in the future?
Not at this time. The biggest thing with that is this is a seat that has no real restrictions. Okay. Some seats that rotate have restrictions on angles, and in order to keep the chest G's and other things in the tolerance levels that we wanted to keep them in, we felt 40 pounds was the right weight. So right now that's staying that way at this point.
Okay. And then Jenna is looking for a suggestion. She owns a REV and a Chevy Suburban. She struggles getting a good install fit on the outboard positions due to the loop in the seat belt interfering with the lap belt guide. Any suggestions about that?
I guess I have to think about that for a second. Struggle.
Okay.
Seatbelt interference with the lap in the. You're talking about the little lip on the side, the lap belt guide.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I would have to actually see it. I mean, I really don't like answering questions like that I really can't see or talk about. If she wants to email me or something, I can FaceTime and see what's going on. But there is a way around that. I mean, that loop going through that. It only has to be, just let you know, it only has to be on one side of that belt guide. All right. All that belt guide is there to do is to make sure the belt doesn't slide up the back of that seat base in a belt that is positioned further back in the bite. So it may be that the one side that doesn't have to be on into that loop. One of the sides does need to be in there though, in most cases.
Okay. And yeah, that's great. Maybe to email.
Yeah,
Bob
she probably
separately.
should. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. On the REV, is it required to switch the retractor before engaging the tension door?
No, it's not required at all. That was a hint. That was kind of a trick of the trade. It doesn't matter which way you get it in. It can be locked prior to or locked after, just so it's locked.
Okay.
What I was telling you, it seems to be easier to get it in if you lock it first.
Perfect. And then another REV question, is there a particular reason why the tether would be attached first, then the belt? To some caregivers, it seems that the configuration may be a bit awkward.
because we don't want, the problem is we want to make sure that the tether's on, okay? If they put the belt in first, then they put they may not put the tether on. We're trying to get them to make sure they put the tether on. It's more of we're trying to change the attitude about tethers. We want them to put it on first. It also has to go up over that bar. We want to make sure that if it does go on, it goes on correctly.
Okay. Beth is asking, is there a data manufacturer where the rev changes takes place, the weight changes, as it's not retroactive?
It is not retroactive. You have to look at the labels.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going, Bob, because the questions keep coming. So if you're okay for a few more minutes, we're going to keep at you here.
I'm here.
All right. Does Urban have a level line needed for the angle tolerance testing for preemies?
No. It has a level line. It does have a blue line. It does not have a level indicator. It has a line on the side. Yes.
Okay. And then to go with that, how do you adjust the recline angle on the Urban?
It rotates. Those bars rotate. You can rotate the whole seat. While it's installed, you just rotate it where you need it to go.
Okay. And then here's a great question for you. How does the Urban compare in crash tests versus ones with the bases? Can you talk a little bit about
Well, first
that?
of all, we're not going to compare the two.
Okay.
Okay. It's a pass fail. I will say this. The Urban tests better than any of our infant seats, period. Has better test numbers than any seats we have.
Okay.
I've been told that a dozen times.
Perfect. And then
which is
here's
nice
a
to
question.
hear.
Oh, go for it.
Nice to hear that, actually.
Perfect. Here's a question from Marla, and her question is, does a waterfall interfere with the install on the Urban? And along with that, I would ask maybe a little bit of a description of what she means by waterfall for those maybe who are newer.
The waterfall is the piece at the bite of the seat that comes out that almost looks like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's a piece of the vehicle seat at the bite that comes out and it's kind of like a roll. And it causes, it's like a little hump that goes between the back of the seat and the bottom of the seat. That waterfall, which we haven't had any problems with it at all with our seats, either the Pippas or any of, it's definitely not an issue with the Urban at all, not even a little bit.
Okay. And then again, with the Urban, can it be used with a pool noodle? Would you ever need that?
It can be, but you don't really need it.
Okay. Okay. And can it be installed with a seatbelt and or the lap belt?
Yes.
All right. A few more questions we've got here, and one of them is, are the harness covers required in all rear facing onlys or just the Pippa?
They're only required, it's only required in the Rev.
Okay. Okay. So great.
All the harness pads are required on the Rev, rear facing and forward facing.
And so one question that's on here as well is, why must the harness covers be used with the Rev?
It's because it actually makes the test numbers, the chest G's and the head injury, it lowers them significantly, and we want to keep them as low as possible.
Okay. Are there adapters to use the Urban with an alternative stroller for those with multiple children?
Yes, there are. It's the same. To put that on any of the stroller, it's just like putting any of the other Pippas on any other stroller. It's the same adapters.
Okay. Hey, and I'll read this one to you. I've been told this informally, but can you route the vehicle shoulder belt behind the tether when installing the Rev? Routing it in front of the tether seems to end up with the tether strap and shoulder belt pushing against each other in some vehicles.
That is true. You can put it back there, but it really is, when you start moving it around, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. All right. And we want the tether in first. Yes, it does create a little bit of when you put them when you put them together with the tether first and then put the shoulder belt over top, it does sometimes have a crease or a bend. It's not a big deal. Those little pieces. I mean, I know people, they want that crisp look, but sometimes you got to go with what you got. It's okay to put it on first. It's just really more of a hassle in the long run.
Okay. And then Sarah's asking, with the rear facing infant seats, do the handles stay in the upright carry position or are they pushed back for transportation?
Any of the 3 locked positions.
Okay, perfect. Another question is, does Nuna have any plans to release a car seat that starts at 3 pounds?
Like every manufacturer out there, we are always looking at stuff like that. So that's all I can say.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Well, you got a lot of work here today, Bob, with all these questions, and we really appreciate all your answers. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in the last couple minutes here, Bob?
No, I mean, if anybody, I've got my email on there. If you all need any other questions answered, you can email me directly, and that's not a problem. I will answer all that I can. And I mean, I'm always available. A lot of people know that. Unfortunately, some people know it too much. But again, I know there's some questions, like there's one about seat protectors. No, we do not encourage seat protectors. We don't allow them, things like that. I mean, I see little ones here that are, Abby has a very long one here that I can't read that whole thing, but I know we're at the end here. But if somebody wants to email me or whatever, we can answer some more questions. So
absolutely. If we didn't get to all your questions, because there were some really great questions and a lot of them. So if Bob is willing that you can go ahead and email him, please, take advantage of that. So Bob, really, really want to thank you for being on today. And as you can all see there, that tomorrow afternoon after 2 p.m. Eastern time, a confirmation email is coming to you from Zoom. It will have your event ID number on there. If you don't get that, if you don't see it, then go ahead, check your spam. If it's not in there, then email me, sheitch@safekids.org. And I will confirm your attendance and send you out a confirmation email. But again, Bob, thank you so much for your time. You're very busy. You're here, there, and everywhere. And we really appreciate you taking this time with us.
I appreciate everybody taking the time to be here. It's good. It's a good thing. I'm excited about the Urban because I really believe that it's a game changer. Putting lower anchors on the shell of the seat opens up something new for everybody. Let's see where that goes.
Super cool. Well, thank you, everybody, and hope everybody has a great and safe day. And Bob, we'll let you go, and you have a great day too. Thanks,
Take care, everybody.
everybody.